The Young Bucks are set to challenge FTR for the tag titles at this Saturday's AEW Full Gear, and for the last several weeks, Matt Jackson has been selling an ankle injury, not only on Dynamite, but BTE, being the Elite. Now, according to Bryan Alvarez, an injury might be legit. On today's episode of Wrestling Observer Radio, Alvarez explains, quote, "The story with Matt is he has a partially torn MCL and a thinning of the ACL, which is considered a slight tear, and that's why you're there doing the ankle gimmick. So he has a legitimate injury, and I guess he's been rehabbing it, and I guess they figured they can do the match." So basically the story is he's just selling the ankle the whole time. Close quote. He added the leg injury happened back in July when Matt did a flying dive off the stage while working a match against the Butcher and the Blade. The Bucks and the Blade were reportedly, quote, banged up, close quote, after the match, but both tag teams returned to action soon after. It'd be interesting to see with this big match with FTR and Matt Jackson not being 100%, how that's going to all go down. As we previously reported on Pro Wrestling News Hub, WWE filed a cancellation notice with the United States Patent and Trademark Office last November 2nd, surrendering the trademark Cody Rhodes name, which gives Rhodes the full rights to use the name anytime he sees fit. Immediately after the main event of last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, saw Rhodes and the Gun Club defeat Dark Order in a 6-man tag team match. Following the match, Rhodes grabbed the mic and spoke to the live crowd in attendance.
I have not had the opportunity to speak out here at the end of the night since we have welcomed fans back. How's everybody doing? Is everybody coming to Full Gear? Hey, where are you two? Hey, it is not easy. Austin Gunn, Dynamite debut. Billy Gunn. That was Billy's first TV appearance in 30 years. Billy, give him a double bicep. Show him what you're working with. Come on, G him up. Give me a drum roll, please. All right, we have a bunch of wonderful dark matches. I'm not going to be out here too long. I wanted to share something that is private between us. It is not a social exclusive. It's private. As of this morning, I no longer just have one name. And whether Justin Roberts says it or not, it feels really good. It feels really good to be Cody Rhodes again.
Cody Rhodes will be defending the TNT title against Darby Allin this Saturday at Full Gear. AEW President Tony Khan, in a recent interview with PW Insider, mentioned that the promotion has upgraded their medical protocols. This is in response to criticism from fans and media members after various wrestlers were injured during matches over the last several months. These new protocols will be starting at the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. Both Alex Reynolds and Matt Hardy suffered scary head injuries during live shows, not to mention Abaddon's injury during a TV taping that did not air. Hardy suffered a bad concussion at AEW All Out after a botched spot with Sammy Guevara. We all remember this. He missed the table and hit his head on the concrete. That match was briefly stopped, then restarted, despite Hardy being clearly knocked out. It ended with a very awkward finish and Hardy's wife posting on social media how upset she was with AEW staff. That was kind of an ugly incident and kind of ruined the pay-per-view, to be honest with you. Alex Reynolds on the October 21st edition of AEW Dynamite was knocked out cold and laid motionless in the ring for a few minutes while wrestlers were doing spots around him. The Butcher eventually pulled him to the corner and tagged him out. This is what Tony Khan had to say, quote, "Yeah, we've been recently doing everything we can to work on our protocols and make this a safe as possible work environment. I've added another independent neurologist to the staff. We've added an independent doctor to all the shows in addition to our staff medical team, and we're adding extra support. I've added a two-way feature where the referees can talk back to us if there are injuries so that the referee, not all communication is going one way, and we've encouraged the referees to let us know what's going on." Close quote. Christopher Nowinski, the former WWE superstar and CEO of the Concussion Legacy Foundation, is being brought in at AEW Full Gear. It's been over a year since Nowinski has talked to the staff and talent about head injuries. We remember Nowinski had a promising career and then concussions cut it short. Mr. Harvard, if you remember him. Then kudos to him. He started the Concussion Legacy Foundation, which has been a fantastic. Quote, "I'm so excited to have Chris come back because I think he's a world-leading expert on head trauma and to other injuries outside of the head trauma. I think we ought to do our best there too, but I think that's probably the area we're the most concerned about making sure we're doing everything safe." Close quote. So AEW, seeing that things are going wrong and getting a little ugly, and they're making improvements and improving their protocols. Hey, they've only been in business for a year, so kudos to Tony Khan and company. All Elite Wrestling dropped a commercial for the Saturday, November 7th AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. Some of the wording in the spot has fans speculating. See, the commercial starts off one of the hottest free agents and then shows some of the big names from the past that have debuted on AEW. Names including Brody Lee, Matt Hardy, Jake Roberts, Lance Archer, FTR, Mike Tyson, Ricky Starks, Matt Sydal, Brian Cage, Matt Cardona, and Miro, just to name several. Could they be teasing another big name debut at Full Gear? There is one biggest star in wrestling history who recently had their name and merchandise removed from the WWE shop not too long ago. There is rumored that this legend 6 months ago might be coming to AEW. Could that be back on? You'll have to find out. Maybe you're not sure who I'm talking about, but just look it up online. Just something to throw out there. It could be nothing, or maybe there could be something special in the horizon at Full Gear. Video game nerds are excited. A big announcement for AEW Video Game is set for Tuesday, November 10th at 6 p.m. We'll have coverage of that on all Pro Wrestling News Hub. AEW released a very teaser video, which basically just said AEW Games in it with some music and talked about the date, Tuesday, November 10th at 6 p.m. Eastern. They also launched the YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook pages as well, if you're interested in checking that out, and telling fans to subscribe. Now remember, AEW previously filed the trademarks All Elite Wrestling, Elite General Manager, and Elite GM. In October, AEW Games was filed. Looks like the company could be working on several games, not just one. EVP Kenny Omega recently talked about AEW video games and said it will be different from any WWE title. Quote, "It has to be very good chance at standing alone as probably the best wrestling product as a video game that you could possibly find on the market. That's the hope anyways," close quote. No further details have been revealed. However, if you look at AEW Games follows on Twitter, who they follow on Twitter, could give you some maybe insight into who is behind the game. Street Fighter, Capcom Fighter, Jeb Bailey, who is the founder and CEO of CEO Gaming Events and FGC Director and CEO Gaming, a fighting game tournament event series directed by Jeb Bailey. So I wonder if the AEW game might not actually be a game, but maybe they're adding wrestlers to Street Fighter and doing something along those lines. And this is the first foray into AEW video game stuff. It's just interesting. Out of all things, Street Fighter is somebody that AEW Games is following on Twitter. Stay tuned. All Elite Wrestling President and CEO Tony Khan recently had a conversation with PW Insider and noted that the company has officially signed indie stars Max Caster and Anthony Bowens to a contract as the tag team known as The Acclaimed. PW Insider also mentioned that Bowens was in the interest of WWE and that WWE wanted to sign him to a contract for their NXT brand. Last December, Bowens made his AEW debut on Dark when he teamed up with Lee Johnson for a loss to Chaos Project, Luther and Serpentico. He then teamed with Caster in October for a loss to Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent. Max Caster, on the other hand, made his AEW debut on Dark back in June when he teamed with Luther and Serpentico in a six-man loss to Jurassic Express. Caster also lost a singles match to Shawn Spears on Dark last June. Caster took to Twitter to comment on officially signing with AEW and even talked about his match with Anthony Bowens on Dark. Bowens would then take on Twitter as well and comment on their signing, then thanked everyone for their support. Bowens also responded to his tweet, said that they're going to beat everybody up and insult them before they do it. So there you have two new guys on the AEW roster. AEW's Jake Hager remains undefeated with his victory over Brandon Colton at Bellator 250 that was briefly mentioned on the beginning of Dynamite this week. He wore an AEW logo on the front of his tights and came to the ring with an Inner Circle t-shirt. Very cool. Hager defeated the former Pittsburgh Steeler via split decision. Two judges scored the fight 29-28 for Hager to give him the win. This is his first fight that went past the first round. The win brings Hager's MMA record to 3-0-1. The match went back and forth, and both men were left bloodied after round 3. Just like last Hager fight, there was another low blow. During the previous fight, Hager was disqualified after a low blow warning. Hager was not at AEW Dynamite the prior week to prep for the fight, which was part of the prelims of Bellator and was on the YouTube channel, Bellator's YouTube channel. The event took place at Connecticut's Mohegan Sun Arena, where they held all their events in this post-pandemic world. And congratulations to Jake Hager on the Inner Circle getting that win in the MMA world. It certainly helps his character.